As long as I'm here, let's take a minute to talk about the NBA. I don't know a ton about this sport. I like to watch it casually. It's all very casual for me, but sports are sports. And, I watch it a little bit, I follow it a little bit, so I have a general idea of what's going on. And, 4 games into the season so far. General thoughts, the obvious, this Lakers team, we've seen them play twice now, they go deep, man. It's a little unreal how deep these guys go. You got starting 5, Kobe, Fisher, Bynum, Gasol, and Radmanovich. Off the bench you got Odom, who is the kind of guy who can play all 5 positions if you really need him to. Sasha, Farmar, Ariza, a couple other guys too I don't really even know, but they can contribute too. And they go probably deeper than last year's Celtics team. I talked a little bit last year about how deep this Lakers team was. This team is deeper. Now they have Bynum. Jordan Farmar is so much better. And so far this year, I don't think they've had anybody score more than 25 points in one game. It's getting spread around. Kobe has so far this season, in only 2 games, but still deferred to his teammates, which is something that a lot of superstar players did learn that Kobe could not. That early in the game, through the first 3.5 quarters, you got to do everything you can to get your teammates involved, and then at the end of the game, in crunch time, if it's close, you take over. That's something that Steve Nash understood, that Magic Johnson understood, that Larry Bird understood, and that's something that Kobe could never really get his head around. So we'll see if it's just 2 games, but so far, Kobe has been more notable for his rebounding exploits than his scoring exploits. So we'll see where this goes. Speaking of these superstar players who are doing a little bit of everything, you had Dwayne Wade, who through 2 games this year has been Mr. Everything for Miami. He's blocking shots, he's getting steals, leading the team in assists, getting rebounds. He's just doing a little bit of everything for them, and he is back with a vengeance. Definitely excited to see where this year takes him. The Heat team, I think it could be pretty good. I think it's a 40-win team at least, maybe 45. But they kind of got a weird makeup. I don't really think Udonis Haslem has what it takes to help this team get far in the postseason. The way I see it, they got a lot of people playing out of position. They need to shift things around and consider making a trade. Like, Sean Marion's playing pretty well so far, but I don't know if he fits. So I think this Miami team has a chance to make a push in the East, but they need to shake things up a little bit, and I think Marion could go somewhere else before all is said and done. Boston, obviously, playing great defense so far. 2 games, they've opened up their title defense very well. And, as good as they did look, they played a little sloppy against Cleveland, and so did Cleveland, and they ended up coming out the better team in that game. And just not too long ago, they crushed Chicago, but after seeing what James Posey did in New Orleans in their season opener, you find yourself thinking, damn, that could have been for the Celtics. I think they should have matched the contract offer personally, but they should be fine either way. But down the stretch, at some point, they're going to wish they had James Posey. I feel pretty strongly about that. As I pretty much thought, the Spurs, in their season opener against the Suns, They got 32 points from Duncan. They got 32 points from Parker. They still lost at home. Now that's something you thought that the Spurs team of the last, 4 or 5 years would never do. If they get 32 from Parker and 32 from Duncan, they're winning that game. But things are different this year. Ginobili's out, and the role players that they have, it's not what it used to be. They don't have Horry anymore. They don't have Brent Barry. They don't have, they don't have the old Michael Finley. Michael Finley got old. Bruce Bowen got old. Even when Ginobili comes back, you're looking at Duncan, Parker, Ginobili, obviously. You got Finley and Bowen. And then you got Roberto something. Looking at their depth beyond the big three, even after Ginobili gets back, where are the points going to come from? Where's the good play going to come from in general? It's just a very shallow Spurs team right now, as I felt before this preseason. Not that it was very hard to see. So that's why I took Duncan in a fantasy league, because I thought he was going to have to carry this Spurs team through the first 2 months. And looks like I did pretty well there. 32 points, and the Spurs still lost. He's going to have to put up a lot of 30-point efforts. He's going to have to haul in 15 rebounds, just day a game in, game out. And I'm thinking about appending my Spurs championship prediction at this point, but I want to see what happens when Manu gets back, first and foremost. But we will see. We will see. I'm just happy right now that I drafted Duncan in a fantasy league. What else do we got? Speaking of the Spurs, that Suns game, I watched most of it, and it was fun. I enjoyed watching Shaq have a throwback game. He had 11 rebounds in the first half, and to me that was a blast to watch, because O'Neal's a pretty cool cat, actually. I didn't like him early in his career and through the prime of his career, but in hindsight I realized he's a pretty cool cat. I like the guy. So he had a nice throwback game to open the season, even if in the second half he slowed down a bit. Ended up with 15 points and 13 rebounds. Made more free throws than he missed, which for him is an accomplishment, I guess. So, I'm interested to see where his career goes this season, because by all accounts he should settle into the Patrick Ewing in 2000 or Kareem in 89 mode. But if he can have one more really good season, that'd be something. Let's see what else. I already talked about New Orleans a little bit, with the Posey signing being big. They look really good so far this year. Houston looked real good in their first 2 games, defensively and offensively. They got great efforts from Artest, Ming, and pretty good effort from McGrady. Good role-playing efforts out of guys like Luis Scola and Shane Batlier. And, Josh Howard was going off on them in the Mavericks game. So was Dirk, but they crunched down on them when they needed to. But I'm not quite ready to drink the Kool-Aid on this Rockets team. I'm not totally sure that Ming is ready to become all that he can be. I don't trust T-Mac to stay healthy. You can't trust Artest to remain sane under any conditions. This Rockets team has a chance to be really good. I'm not ready to drink the Kool-Aid quite yet. Who else has been playing well so far? Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh has had a nice opening to the season for the Raptors. And, the Raptors are actually off to a 2-0 start on his shoulders. So Chris Bosh is one of those guys that I think could settle into the elite next to a guy like Dwight Howard, who's also having a nice season. Hope things work out well for him. Last thing I want to say is I'm excited to see who the Cavs deal for before the trading deadline, because I know they have Wally Shizer back, or however you pronounce it, and I think they plan to trade him. One scenario I read that I really like is Wally, $3 million, and a number 1 pick for Andrei Kirilenko out of Utah, and I hope that happens. I think that would be great for the Cavs. And one last thing, thank you to YouTube for taking down my Phillies video. Even with all the millions of other copyright infringements you got out there, you feel the need to take down my video when I was taping a TV broadcast on my webcam. I guess that was losing the Major League Baseball money somehow. Whatever. Anyway, I'm out.